What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MavAttack. We're back in the building. First off, I want to say thank you guys all so much for 9,000 subscribers, because by the time I'm done with this video, we'll be at 9K, so thank you to everybody in the Mav movement, all 9,000 of you he-mavs and she-mavs. I just want to say thank you guys all so very much. So with that being said, another year, another Call of Duty. It's that season, it's that time. People want to know, is this game going to be freaking worth it, or is it just another rehash? Another freaking Call of Duty with a skin on it? Does it wall run its way to victory, or does it freaking get shot in the head and fall by the wayside? This is MavAttack's review of Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Let's fucking start.
Story.
The story in Black Ops 3 takes that same traditional corridor shooting style and adds a few different touches that give gameplay a different feel, but the story falls short, making a lot of moments come as you play them, and then go as they easily become forgettable. With name talent such as Christopher Maloney, Sean Douglas, who I actually thought was Bradley Cooper like the whole freaking game. That blew my mind. And Tony Amendola, you'll recognize actors you know or have seen in films and TV shows. Now, the story starts you off as not a character in this world, but a player. The player! You can customize your own player at the beginning of the story mode, and then you take them into the story. And the story mode is playable with up to 3 friends online, or with another friend split screen on the same couch. Now, the game starts with you fighting alongside a team of cyber soldiers in an Ethiopian mountain, with an objective to find and secure a captured Egyptian minister. Now, it gets a little confusing, but in the process, you, the player, every time we refer the player, you get grabbed and torn to literal shreds by this just monster robot soldier, and you end up laying stranded for dead. So 5 years later, 5 years down the road, you're in a new world, you undergo surgery, and get cybernetic parts that grant you special abilities to use and upgrade during your time within the campaign. As I won't go into too many details for the spoilers' sake and everything, the story has a few twists and turns, as a CIA black station was the site of 300,000 people being killed in Singapore, and it's up to you and your squad to figure out what the CIA are really up to. Like, what are they freaking plotting? While actively fighting the CIA's enemies, of course, like the 54 Immortals, who are like the tribal faction of Singapore. Allies turn enemies, technology and human subconscious collide. It's just a story that does a lot to be deep in message, but falls flat and doesn't really bring much substance on the surface towards the end of the game.
Gameplay.
Alright, so I'm going to split this up into like 3 sections: story, zombies, and a multiplayer. So let's start with the story. Now, the story gameplay is nice. You can tackle missions different ways thanks to the more open corridor tactics, where it's still a linear path, but you have a choice to go low or higher up depending on where you want to move in the battlefield. It's like an advantage type gameplay. So as you play through the campaign, you can earn these fabrication kits, which are basically like kits where you can unlock certain things for certain loadouts. So you can unlock a certain gun, new weapon, new skills, grenades, that certain thing, or enhanced augmentations, which give you new enhanced skills to use towards different human and robotic enemies that you encounter within the campaign. For example, you can overload robots, making them freaking chain explode. Other robots nearby will just freaking go up in flames. Or you could send out this like sonic wave that makes humans sick, literally sick to their stomach, and they just puke up their fucking hearts. Like they just die. It's funny. All of these skills can be upgraded via the in-game safe house, which gives you tons to do. I really like the safe house. You can collect secret items in-game that you can actually put on display in your special little safe house, access the in-game data vault in your computer, find hidden game modes like this, change your character's cosmetic look, change your special class, whatever you want to do, you can change everything, and even go into a horde mode. I didn't even know this thing was in the fucking game. You go into a horde mode, and it's called combat immersion. They let you and your friends fight through 16 rounds of human and robotic combatant. There's plenty to do, customize, and find, and this is just the single player. There's still so much more to cover in these game modes. So Call of Duty Zombies is back and better than ever, putting a new group of people into the zombie universe. With a pretty eccentric cast of characters, each with their own kind of twisted path. They're each cursed, and it's up to you to find and collect all the artifacts and start the special ritual to make sure you and your squad can survive all of the zombie waves. So of course, it's a new zombie game. What new features? They gotta bring some new features to the table. So the first feature they brought is the curse, which basically allows you to access areas you can't normally go to, unlock special gates or items that you need to further yourself, and much, much more. And you don't even fight just zombies. They're new. It wouldn't even be Call of Duty Zombies if you fought just zombies. There are certain special types of beasts, like there's these little flying bugs that like spit goo at you, and then there's these big brute guys that like run at you, and you have to like shoot their freaking heads to kill them, and you get their heart, and you can build special weapons. You will have a hell of a time trying to survive without team tactics and complete communication. Like, you can't play this with randoms. It's impossible. Damn near impossible. The same old perks are in the game, once again, like Juggernaut, which gives you a health buff, or Speed Cola, which makes you reload faster, and even the Pack-a-Punch machine makes its return, of course. There's also a new sort of buff system. It's interesting. It's called Gobblegum, and it allows you for a certain amount of time to use certain buffs and get certain things in the game. So, for example, there's a gun that lets you, like, bleed out slower, or there's a gun that makes zombies ignore you for up to 10 seconds. While you rank up, you earn this stuff called Divinium, which you can use in Dr. Monty's factory, which is kind of just like microtransactions, really. You just use this Divinium to get a random drop, and it gives you a random Gobblegum. It's just a way to say, like, if you want to earn Divinium, you can try your luck to get some special rare Gobblegums, but, you know, you risk not getting anything good, and I don't know. It's not implemented yet, or I haven't noticed it being implemented at all, but I haven't noticed microtransactions. I haven't noticed microtransactions being in the game. I'm not sure if they're gonna just not implement that, keep that out of the game, or they're gonna add that later on at a later date. I'm not too sure. But at this time in the review, I cannot find microtransactions. Like, they're just not in the game. So we will see later on down the road. Multiplayer is one of, if not the most important component in a Call of Duty game, because it brings people back the most. It has the most replayability as far as upgrading, ranking, all that stuff. So this time around, it's still the same old Call of Duty that we all know, but with a few more options of customizing and gameplay changes to be explored. So introducing for the first time is now a new specialist system, which gives your player a special skill, whether it be pulling out a crazy ass bow, picking people off, sending out decoys of yourself to fool other enemies, or walking around with a freaking flamethrower, getting everybody Popeye's crispy, baby. There are many specialists to choose from, and each provide a subtle yet unique change to the standard Call of Duty formula gameplay. The emblem creator makes a return, calling cards are back. You can actually go in and customize your own camo for your gun. You can put like little emblems all over your gun and customize it, making it look really interesting. It's all cosmetic stuff though, purely. And aside from subtle cosmetic changes, specialists, and game unique equipment and kill streaks, the Call of Duty multiplayer formula is basically the same that it's really always been in the Call of Duty games. The game modes are your typical Call of Duty game modes: team deathmatch, search and destroy, domination, but with the addition of the new safeguard game mode, which has your team attacking or defending a non-combative robot while it walks around making its way towards the objective. And this mode really sticks out to me because teamwork is important and makes you play the fucking objective. Like, if you have teammates that don't know what they're doing, you're just gonna get shit on all over the battlefield. Like, it's just gonna be a bad time. The maps are all interestingly designed in a way to fit with exosuit movements, which do make a return to Call of Duty, but in a lighter form, not like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It's not as intense as those exosuits. You could wall run, slide, and boost, but that's about it as far as exo abilities go. As it was merely touched on and added in Advanced Warfare, it's added in here and improved in many, many ways, but there's swimming mechanics and little designated zones that you could swim in, so there literally can be underwater firefights if you're freaking lead enough. But overall, multiplayer is the same thing we've seen every year with a few different changes, and that can either be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you feel about the multiplayer in the Call of Duty games.
Things I liked.
I really like the game mode variety. Like, I was so surprised at the game mode variety because we got story mode. There's a special story mode once you finish the main campaign called Nightmare Mode, and I won't spoil that for anybody that wants to actually find out what that is on their own. Aside from the two main story modes, you have the Zombies mode. Of course, Zombies mode. So much replayability within that. There's a lot that you can do inside, you know, different strategies, different tactics within the zombie game mode. But there's the target practicing horde-ish mode that you can go in with your friends. That was something I didn't even know was going to be in the game as well. I had no idea. And then, surprisingly enough, I did not know this made it in, but I was tinkering around in the little computer in story mode, and I found Dead Ops Arcade. Dead Ops Arcade has made its return. Dead Ops Arcade 2 is in the game for you to be able to go in and play, and it's freaking fun. There's so many game modes. There's multiplayer. There's even a game mode with free running. I actually really enjoyed the soundtrack and the sound design of the game. The guns sound great. The movements sound great. The tech in the game sounds great. Single player, when you're sitting in your safe house, it plays this ambient track that there's just something about it that I just love it. I just want to make love to it. But overall, I really like the soundtrack and the sound design. Like, the game sounds amazing, and people really overlook sound a lot of the time. Sound has a lot to do with immersion, and I feel like this game really takes the sound and brings you into the game with the sound design. There was just something I really loved about going into the safe house, whether it was like customizing my character, my main story mode character, or putting my little secret unlockables that I found in the gameplay like on the walls, or even, you know, going into the computer and reading files, or customizing it. There's just a lot to do in the safe house, and it's kind of a cool little hub that you can go into and just playing zombies and trying to survive as long as you freaking can. There's just a certain charm about it that I really can't explain, but I really liked this iteration of zombies, and I can't wait to see what the future brings with more maps and whatnot. And just overall, the gameplay just feels solid. The gameplay just feels good. It feels like how it should feel. A Call of Duty game, like it's just there. Like, you won't have any control problems at all. But you will have a few other problems.
Things I disliked.
So for this video review, I did play the game on PlayStation 4, and these are a few problems I had on the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure if these exist on PC and Xbox One or the last gen consoles, but this was PlayStation 4 issues I had. Frame drops, man. It is 2015. Stop this shit. This shit is supposed to run in 60 frames per second, and cutscenes, and sometimes even in-game while I'm playing, it will drop down 10 frames per second. I can tell, you can see. It's so crazy. Why is this a problem? Why do the frame drops so bad? It ruins immersion. Honestly, it ruins immersion. Like, people say like, oh, frame rate's not an issue. Frame rate ruins immersion. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's 2015. If you are not playing your games at 60 frames per second, fuck out of here. And also on the PlayStation 4, I had so many game crashes. Single player game crashes, multiplayer game crashes. The game just on a technical level felt a little lacking. Like, there was, you know, for the frame rate issues, I was crashing. I kept encountering bugs. When I loaded this, when I first got the game, I'm gonna put a screenshot up on the screen so you can see what it looks like. It literally looked like a PlayStation 2 game. Now, network issues I had a problem with both on the Call of Duty server side of things and in-game hosting and everything like that. So I'll explain in a second, but the Call of Duty servers kept kicking me out of games. I understand this game just came out, huge influx of players flooding the servers. You guys are trying to get it situated. I understand that. But let's be real. If I can't connect to the servers, I can't do much. I got single player, I got free running. That's about it. Zombie solo, yeah, who wants to do that? Another problem I have is the host issue. The host issue. I've never understood the Call of Duty host server issue. It's peer-to-peer, I'm assuming it's P2P. It's not dedicated servers. You literally, one person comes in a game and they're the host, and everybody's internet connections run off of that person's internet. So if their internet is ass, then you're gonna have a bad time, which I never understand the consistency. Sometimes, 50% of the time, couple bullets and they're dead. Couple bullets and I'm done. The other 50% of the time, I'm unloading clips into people and I'm not getting a kill. That is a huge problem with me. I don't like inconsistencies like that, and that's a huge problem that I had with this game, with the multiplayer, as far as the multiplayer goes, and not even just with this game. All Call of Duties have done this. They've had either good games or inconsistent games where, you know, you can go 2.0, your kill to death ratio is 2.0 on good games, and then games where you can barely get any kills, the host has just a diarrhea dookie freaking dial-up internet connection. You know, you get, you know, a 0.5 kill to death rate. It just all varies, and I don't like inconsistencies like that. I'll talk about the story for a second, because I had a dislike with the story. I felt a huge disconnect with the story. It felt like I was just doing these meaningless tasks. I didn't feel like I was brought into the story enough. And the story was trying to be too deep. I don't want to spoil anything too much, but it just felt like one of the lower points in the Call of Duty campaign history. It just tried to be too deep under the surface, and it never scratched that. So I just had a problem with the story, and I felt like once the story finished, kind of felt like my time had been wasted a little bit because the reward was not worth the journey, if you know what I'm saying. So I wasn't a fan of the story too much. And finally, this is just a minor gripe, but I feel like they lost potential with the free running. So you can do the free running modes and try to do it really fast, and then you can see the leaderboards where your friends are and where, you know, what time they've beaten it, but you can't actually go into the game and play against your friends. So much potential is lost. Now, I know that they're slowly gonna release, you know, a level editor tool for PC for the game, and so that could open up possibilities, but I feel like if free running lets you and like 3 other friends come into a free running mode and then you guys just race against each other, the potential, and I just feel like they missed out on that opportunity, which is pretty unfortunate. But you know, there's still so much that the game offers that's just one of the smaller gripes. Overall, the story was a fun ride with twists and turns along the way, but left much to be desired at the destination. Zombies is jam-packed with secrets and Easter eggs, which you can spend some serious time on learning and perfecting strategies with your friends. And lastly, the multiplayer is similar to what you're used to previous games in the series, but with a few added twists that make it the best multiplayer experience since really Black Ops 2. But do I think the game is worth the full price? Everybody wants to know, is it worth it? So as I always say in these reviews, you should definitely try the game out for yourself to decide. But I say yes, it definitely packs enough punch in the title to leave you wanting to come back to it with its 2 campaigns It's interesting and addictive zombie mode, and Dead Ops Arcade if you want to count it, and multiplayer, and the free running, and the horde mode. It's just got a lot to offer. So if you don't like one aspect of the game, I'm 100% positive that you're sure to find a game mode that you'll love and want to spend hours and hours in. If you're skeptical on it, like, oh, it's just another Call of Duty, definitely wait for a price drop. But if you've been thinking about it, like, maybe I should wait, definitely cop the game for yourself, hop on with some friends and enjoy yourself and have a good time, because that's all what we're here for, is to have a good time and play some video games. But thank you guys all so much for watching this episode of MavAttack. If you enjoyed this episode of MavAttack and this review of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, man, please attack that like button. It lets me know that you found the video helpful. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Consider subscribing to join the Mav movement. All you He-Mavs stay rad, and all you She-Mavs stay fab. And I will see you guys all on the next episode of MavAttack. Motherfucker!